Okay, we knew when we began this event and started inducting athletes and coaches into Texoma Sports Hall of Fame that we were going to see several former Coyotes football players and coaches on that list for the first several years, and this year is no different. In 1949, Wichita Falls Coyote Jerry Fouts was the talk of the state. He led Old High to a dominating 34-13 win over Austin in the state championship game. Fouts was named the most outstanding Texas schoolboy, the most prestigious honor of his era. He followed that up in 1950 by leading the Coyotes to another state title, this time a nail-biting 14-13 win over Austin High School. In that game, Fouts caught a touchdown pass and kicked 2 extra points. He received a scholarship to attend the University of Oklahoma and play for legendary coach Bud Wilkinson and the dominant Sooners. He turned down the offer, serving 2 years in the U.S. Marine Corps, the U.S. expanding its forces during the Korean War. After his service, Fouts returned to Wichita Falls, where he attended Midwestern State. In 1955, he was drafted by the Chicago Bears, where he played 2 seasons. Fouts played for NFL Hall of Fame coach George Halas, while playing alongside 2 of the most prominent athletes of the era, George Blanda and Harlan Hill. Tonight, we welcome Jerry Fouts to the Nexstar Sports Hall of Fame. Please welcome to the stage the sister of Jerry Fouts, accepting on his behalf, Karen Fouts Brewer.
Good evening. I'm really nervous. My name is Karen Fouts Brewer. I am honored to speak to you tonight about someone that is near and dear to my heart, my big brother, Jerry Dwayne Fouts. Sadly, I am the last remaining member of the Fouts family. Just to give you an idea of our age differences, Jerry was 9 years my senior. You could say I looked up to my big brother not only due to our age differences, but because he was a good big brother. We grew up pretty poor to a single mother that worked long hours to provide for us, as well as financially helping her own parents when needed. But given our circumstances, we never knew that we didn't have that much, since we lived in a house full of love and there was always food on the table. I believe it was our humble upbringing that inspired Jerry to establish a good work ethic. Football certainly was at the center of his life, and he worked hard at it. He seemed to excel at anything he set his mind to. Even though he spent many hours working out and playing sports, he would always carve out some time for me. He was a bit of a prankster and could always coax me to play 52-card pickup. But you might guess how that turned out, because time after time I would fall for his prank and quickly become a pretty good pro picking up 52 cards off the floor. During part of Jerry's high school career, we lived right across the street from Coach Golden. Some of y'all may remember him, which he was the head coach. Jerry always felt like Coach was standing in his window with his binoculars watching every move. So that meant him and his other players that came to our house to hang out had to go somewhere else for their shenanigans. Anytime he came home after curfew, he learned to turn his motorcycle off and roll it down the hill to our house so Coach wouldn't hear him coming home late. There is one particular summer that I remember Jerry would pick me up every day on his motorcycle or every evening from our grandmother's, where I had been for the day, and take me to our house. And boy, that was a treat. The problem was we only had one house key, which was with our mother at work. Jerry would push me through the kitchen window, and I would go open the front door for him to come in, and then our mother came home later because she worked quite late at the telephone company. During Jerry's high school years, football was his biggest passion. I remember sitting in the stands with my mom, and it always felt like a magical night at the old Coyote Canyon. I'll share a funny story about our mom. She never missed a game and was a big Coyote fan. She always kept her program rolled up in her hand, and when the Coyotes made a touchdown, she would get so excited, and she would hit anybody that was sitting in front of her. So the word quickly got around, "Don't sit by Miss Fouts." Jerry was certainly blessed with a successful high school career. Most notable was in 1949 when he was named Most Outstanding Schoolboy Football Player. It was his final season with the Coyotes. That he was an all-state in during their state championship game. He caught a touchdown pass and then went on to kick 2 extra points for the 14-13 win over Austin. Jerry received a scholarship to the University of Oklahoma. A few months into his freshman year, the Korean War broke out, and he heard he could be drafted into the Army. And he wanted to serve in the Marines, so he and some of his buddies enlisted into the Marine Corps, and I think there was about 10 of them from Wichita Falls. He served 2 years in the Marine Corps and had the opportunity to play football for the Corps in Special Services. Following his stint in the Marines, he received an invitation to come try out for the 49ers, and he had the opportunity to play and Chicago Bears, and he opted for the Bears and had the opportunity to play several years in Chicago. Being a Texas boy, when that run its course, he returned home and attended MSU to continue his college education. He later married his high school sweetheart, Ann Crone, and they had one daughter, Leanne. Jerry was successful in anything he set his mind to. He was an independent geologist here in Wichita Falls area. On his days off, you could catch him on the golf course or cruising around in one of his many cars. He was quite a car enthusiast. I never knew what he was driving because 6 months it would change. In 1973, Jerry was inducted in the Texas Football Hall of Fame in Waco. I know he had to be proud for that honor, but he always played it down. A lot of my married life, I lived primarily in California with my family for 20 years. When my husband retired from the Navy, we moved back home. I was somewhat surprised about the impact Jerry had had and still was remembered. I was asked many times through the years if I was Jerry Fouts' little sister. I couldn't be proud to say yes. On behalf of Jerry's family and myself, I want to thank you for this honor and for all the wonderful memories that it has stirred in me. I know he would be both humbled and proud of your recognition. I'm glad about that.